Tell me when you're ready. Call the regular meeting of the Anderson County Commissioners Court to order on January the 22nd, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Show that a quorum is present. Commissioner Mims told me that he was going to be out today on some private business, so he won't be here. First item on the agenda is the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. If y'all stand with us, you'll join us. Commissioner Dixon's going to lead us in the invocation and the pledge to the U.S. flag.
Please bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just want to thank you for this day. Lord, just thank you for this time that we can come together and discuss issues that are concerning this county. Lord, just give us the correct, what we need, Lord, to make the proper decision for these people. And Lord, just help us with making these decisions. Lord, I ask you to be with the men and women who are fighting for our freedom, Lord. I just ask you to bring them back home safely to their family. Lord, I know a lot of people right now are suffering from flus and different sickness. Lord, I just lift them up to you, Lord. Just ask you to heal their body. Lord, just be with us today. Just continue to watch over us. These things I ask in Jesus' precious name.
Amen. Y'all join us with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anybody signed in? Okay. I just wanted to say one thing. I wanted to thank everybody during this icy weather and everything. Encore, Mr. Winchester, y'all did a great job in trying to get power back on. Commissioners and trying to make sure the roads are clear. Sheriff's Department out taking care of everybody and making sure everybody was safe. So just it takes a team effort. Our emergency management, we communicated back and forth all week, trying to make sure we were getting news to the public on the radio and the newspaper, and they did a good job in helping spread the word too. So just, I thought I needed to comment on that. All right, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda is considered to be self-explanatory and will be enacted with one motion. There will not be a separate discussion of these items. However, any consent agenda item may be removed for individual consideration pursuant to a request by a member of the Commissioners Court. We've got budget amendments 196 through 199 for 2023. We've got bills to approve. Do we have any utilities crossing county roads?
No, sir.
I have one.
Okay.
Anderson County Road 417 north of North Jackson Street. Spectrum will be running the line.
Okay. Mr. Chapin?
No, sir.
Anybody know if Commissioner Mims had any?
I didn't see it.
Okay, all right. All right, then the treasurer's report, and we need to be sworn on the treasurer's report.
If you raise your right hand, do solemnly swear that you have read the treasurer's report, believe to the best of your ability that it is correct.
I have.
Thank you.
The sheriff's report, county clerk's report, tax assessor collector's report, district attorney's report, auditor's report, district clerk's report, IT reports, JP reports, constable reports, any veterans reports, collections reports, historical commission reports, minutes from the regular meeting on November the 13th, 2023, and November the 17th, 2023. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. And item number 5 is consider and take action to approve the budget for the Senate Bill 22 Rural Prosecutor's Office Salary Assistance Grant Program, and also approve budget amendment for this year, for fiscal year 2024, budget amendment number 4 and 5 for that, essentially for that grant. Morning, Allison. How are you this morning?
Good, how are y'all?
Doing good.
So Senate Bill 22 was passed by the legislature this past session, and what it does, it gives rural counties a grant to subsidize prosecutors, assistant DAs, investigators, and the victim, I can't even think of her name. The victims advocate,
Okay.
basically. It gives tremendous raises to them. It's especially important with the assistant DAs because we've had vacancies and now we're filled up. It's made a tremendous difference, and we're grateful to the legislature for giving us this money. I wish everyone could get a raise because everyone deserves it, but we got to take what we can get.
Yes, ma'am.
And actually Allison submitted that grant. That was not one that I had to approve.
Yeah,
It
it's
was-
solely
it was
our
different
discretion.
in the legislation, and it wasn't really, essentially, the court had to approve it, but just to have a paper trail and make sure that everybody knows what she's done and what the grant provided, then she brought it to court, so I
Yes,
appreciate you doing that.
absolutely. I want to keep y'all
So all the
informed.
money for that's already been allocated, you've got it put everywhere it needs to go, right?
Yes, sir, we have. Megan and I worked really well together on figuring out how to do it. It was a little overwhelming, so we got it done, though.
Well,
Thank you.
Hopefully, we'll keep the attorneys and investigators and Tina for a while.
And since we're talking about Senate Bill 22, we had some glitches on trying, there was a number of counties that could not log in at first, but I have submitted the Sheriff's Department grant. So Senate Bill 22 is turned in, and they confirmed that they received it, so let the sheriff know that too. Thank
Yeah,
you.
there are a lot of problems.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion to just approve the budget for Senate Bill 22 for the prosecutor's office for salary assistance grant program, and budget amendment number 4 and 5 for fiscal year 2024. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Dixon,
Second, yes.
second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. All right, item number 6. Back when we were talking, we were kind of doing the budget workshop during we were trying to encumber what we had left on the ARPA funds. Then we discussed the Civic Center. And, one of the things that I kind of got the consensus that the court was wanting to relook at it and, kind of revisit the topic, maybe make some changes. And, before, it was just looked at as a conference center. We had the discussion that maybe we could make a combination of the different ideas that everybody had. And so what I did is Fitzpatrick Architect was the one the court actually engaged to draft plans and things like that last time. So I made a trip over to see Fitzpatrick here just in the last month and a half, something like that, and just kind of had some ideas that we kicked around about the AgriLife, elections, and some of those things. So we put kind of a plan together to let the court look at it. And so this is kind of a starting place, and I wanted to get y'all's opinion on where we wanted to go with this. But one of the things is we're still growing as a county, and so I'm looking at what is the best purpose, and I think that's kind of what the court indicated to us when we had some of those discussions. Rashad's not here. We had talked about the conference center. We sit down with all the hotel owners one day and talked to them. We looked at the pricing about just a conference center, and from a budgetary standpoint, even they added some of it up and indicated it may be $750,000 budget to maintain and run the thing. So essentially, one of them pointed out that it would probably cost you $50,000. You'd have to be making $50,000 a month just to make that thing work. So, but the other thing is to accommodate some of our offices, maybe address some of the other problems, trying to combine all those ideas and listening to what everybody's saying, what the community's been saying for a long time. Everybody keeps asking me, just like I'm sure they're asking y'all, what are you gonna do with the Civic Center? So I thought, let's talk about it. Let's see if we can get, I'm trying to make a positive approach to this, and I think the commissioners want to do the same thing. So Trey Greer with Fitzpatrick is here. We've gone back and forth with some ideas, and he's put together a pretty good tentative plan. And so I'm gonna let we had a little trouble with the PowerPoint, but he had a PDF, so we're gonna have to work off a PDF this morning. He's got a different computer system than we do, so. All right, let me close this out. Okay. Hey, Mark, will you get that one line, please?
Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna have to work the PDF for him. Let's see, I need to expand that out some more. There we go.
There we are. All right, well, good morning.
Morning, Trey.
Like Judge McKinney said, we've taken a lot of different ideas to see what could the Civic Center be. It is a bit different than if you remember the last scheme, like Judge McKinney said, it was a total conference center. And so we looked at arrangement of how could you combine some large meeting space functions as well as some county office functions to see if it could become a building that would serve a lot of different needs. So Judge, if you want to go to the first slide.
Okay.
All right, so the first slide we have here, can all of you see that okay?
He's got a pointer, so he
Yeah.
may have to use that.
That's right, so if y'all can see my green pointer. All right, so just to orient you, this side is south, basically south, that's where the loop is, and then 287 is running on that western side. And so what you're seeing is the outline of the building as it is now. What we looked at doing was not adding on to the building, but just doing interior renovations to the building. And so I'll give you a quick overview, and then we're going to look at a couple of areas. And so here's the front door as it stands now with the lobby. So what we've done is looked at adding some offices into the lobby area, turning that little concession stand into staff kitchen. And when I say kitchen, it's really more like what we would say a break room for staff, except not enough room for seating. So some microwaves, refrigerators, things like that that staff could warm their lunches. And then possibly a little glass-walled cafe where those staff could sit. That could also double as another informal meeting room. If you've been in the Spine and Joint Hospital in Tyler, it's something like their little cafe in there, that kind of idea, so that it doesn't become a real closed-off looking room when you come in there. You still have a pretty open-looking area. Renovating the bathrooms so that they could meet current TOS accessibility standards. And then if you turn to the right, and then you remember we go down a few steps, then making this large room into the elections area with a large workroom and machine storage room that could be secured for their machines where they can work on their machines and do all of the type things they need to do to prepare
Right now, they're
voting.
having to take them down, box them up, lock them in the two jail cells back there in the back of the building so that they're secure. But every time she's got to get ready for elections, she's got to bring those out, unbox them, and whoever's doing the maintenance for the company doing the maintenance on the machines is actually having to wait and get all that unboxed before. In other words, if they were out setting, she could have them all out setting and have that room secured.
Right.
Where she wouldn't have to take them down and box them up all the time. And we could put 24/7 cameras on there, so you got election integrity, and actually in the other room would be early voting.
Right, this room here.
And then there's an awning out there. I suggest we put an awning, so she has to have drive up. In other words, now, the electric machines, you don't have the paper ballots, so you got the electric machines. She has to roll out on a cart if somebody can't get out of the car.
That's right.
But that would provide a space that's covered so they could do that.
That's right. So we would look at taking out that garage door, that coiling door that's right there, and use that opening to put an entrance. And then, like the judge said, create a little one-way covered area where someone could just sit in their car and do their voting. This room could also then, when it's not early voting time, could be a meeting room for, different groups to use as well. And we've got the election offices that are opening right into their area, little file room, and then it's hard to see, but we put a little window in that office right there where the pointer is. That way, if you had a voting card question, you could come in this lobby during business hours and then speak to the person at first office. We also put a little small restroom here. That way, anybody using this area wouldn't necessarily have to go all the way back up to the lobby. That'd be nice probably for these day-to-day workers to have a place. The little storage room that's over there, we left that as it is. In the kitchen, we left those spaces as they are. And then I'll talk about these doors in just a minute, but those, depending on what y'all want to do, could be just used as it is for now, or the kitchens could be updated to a more various styles of kitchens. So that's a decision. If y'all want to go forward, we can talk about it later.
Can I mention one?
Yeah.
One of the things that the Ag Extension Office had talked about is they're supposed to have a kitchen. And so that kitchen is already there, and it's basically like a commercial kitchen. So trying to open it up to the other side for the Ag Extension Office.
That's
That's
right.
why you see those two doors in there, to give us some options. If we want to move that wall down a little further and have that, and enlarge the kitchen for the Ag Extension Office.
That's right.
Okay. And,
All right.
And that early voting could be used for a large training room.
That's right.
He's got numbers for this for training later.
Yeah, I'll show you some
They were
seating
working on
arrangements.
this Friday, so. Okay.
Cutting it down to the wire. All right, so then if you come in through, this is the one of the two sets of double doors that currently go into the theater space. And so if you come in here, then we were looking at putting a group of offices here with a meeting room, and then a large meeting room here, and then utilizing the stage area for another meeting room. And then you have some circulation here. And I'm gonna show you another slide in just a minute that shows you how we would get to all these rooms, but then creating a large restroom in the center. That way, if you had a large meeting here, you'd have restrooms right out the door. If you had some meetings going on in the secondary rooms, it just gives a good central location. That way, people from here aren't walking all the way to the lobby for restrooms. And then in this area, we would retain some of the storage that's already there in the back of the theater. If you've ever been back there, those are actually a triple height storage spaces, and that's how you access the fly loft. To tear all that out would be a lot of money that I don't really know that gains you much. Plus, it's a way to get on the roof, and there's some mechanical units and things like that up there. So we would leave those in place, but provide a couple little restrooms, which there's plumbing there now for those. And so we would just revise those into two little single restrooms to be able to be convenient for the people using this end of the building. Judge, if you go to the next slide.
Sure.
All right, so I know what you're probably thinking is when you come in that back door, it basically is like a mountain sled ride down to the bottom. It's very steep, and it's about a 10 and a half foot change from the lobby elevation to the stage, plus the stage is a couple feet up. So it's quite a bit of difference. So what we looked at doing is using some light gauge steel framing to keep the cost down is a possibility, and then still making those concrete floors. But basically everything in this green color here, or this gray-green color, would all be one level. So when you come in the front door and you come in the lobby where it is now, these offices and meeting room would all be at, we're going to call that level 0. And then in this corridor, you would come down some stairs and a ramp to keep it handicap accessible. And then the big meeting room would be about 5 feet lower than this lobby level. So that's, say, a mid-level. And then you'd have another set of ramp and stairs to come on down to the stage level. And so that would be another about approximately 5 feet down. So everything in that light green color would be on one level. And then if you remember, when you come into this side to this addition that was added years ago, this is about 2.5 feet lower than the lobby. And so that would be a level. And then those two doors we were just talking about, what I've done is looked at the levels where you could have an intermediate landing between these ramps, where if you had a cart full of food and you needed to come out and go to the meeting room, you can stay on this purple level, come down the ramp, and then get to the big meeting room, or you can come on down the ramps to the smaller meeting room, or you can go back up a ramp and get back to the lobby level. So by carefully working these ramps out, then you have kitchen access to the whole building if you needed carts and things like that. And so that's why you saw those two doors punched through that wall, is to get us into that little landing to go access everywhere. Does that make sense, those colors, how that steps down?
Yes.
So again,
Before you go any further, with the front, being at your ground zero, you're gonna come in and have to build some type of retainer wall inside the old additional part of the auditorium side. Then
yes.
I guess with that being cause it's actually 14 foot, you know, from top to the bottom to stage level, or not stage level, but
To the
ground
bottom.
level,
That's
okay?
right.
Now, if you did that, having, if it's 2.5 foot, whatever, building a retaining wall, filling it with dirt, correct?
Well, actually, I was thinking what we do, a lot of times what we do for stages, since we're only talking about 5 feet, we can, there's 3 different ways we could do it. We could build a little retaining wall, fill it with dirt. That's one way to do it. We can use what's called geofoam, which is basically a foam that's meant to be a filler. They use it in dam construction.
Basically to fill the void.
To fill the void, and then you
right.
pour the concrete on top. The third way we could do it, and this is the way I was leaning until we go further, is using light gauge metal stud framing and then a metal deck, and then pouring it with concrete, so you still have a concrete floor, but then it'd be easy to run any kind of piping, electrical conduit underneath without having to either bury it in the dirt or the
But still
geofoam.
filling the void eventually because of the ventilation and creating any kind of
Right.
space that wouldn't have no, you know, where it would create grow molds
That's right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah, so there's a couple ways we could do that once we get into
I
it.
worked in a building once, is that we had shelving all on the bottom floor. And then they took steel and built a frame, and then like tin or heavy gauge metal, like,
Yeah, metal deck,
you know, like the tin.
yeah,
They laid it on top of the steel, and then they poured the concrete.
that's right.
Yeah, you can
And
do
that's
that.
what
Yep.
we're talking about
Yeah,
doing.
you could do that too, but you still
Yeah.
just, the main thing is I'm asking is about the ventilation problems under. If we don't have some type, we're gonna end up with mold problems the same way. Then
Could
when
be.
you stage down to the next one, all right, and it's gonna be at 2.5 to 3 foot, if that be the, you know, case on whatever retainer type wall you're gonna build, it's gonna go down another 9, 8.5, 7.5 to 9 foot. What's gonna go in that space underneath? Because we've already had, you know, we had the coring company go in, you know, with under
Yes.
y'all's directions.
That's right.
And they did all the cores and
That's
they
right.
cored the ground, so I guess those tests come back good, right?
Well, and those were for if we had to put down, the original plan, we were gonna build a steel superstructure inside, and so that was so we could cut a hole and put a footing.
That's right.
But all that information will help us to know if we, because it's possible, you know, if you guys approve to go forward, we'll talk to our structural engineer and see
Yes.
with this new, what is the best way. We may still need to put a little footing in, but to answer your question, you would have a break here, retaining wall or a little stud wall, whichever, and you'd have a break along this line here, basically where the colors change. And if we go with a scheme that has a void underneath, then we will be sure that there's either some sort of ventilation in the system or vapor barrier or something to prevent
Because we
that.
talked about before, you know, with the height differences in front of the stage to that fall, you know, there was anywhere from 17 to 20 foot
Mm-hmm.
that could still get that 7.5 foot head height, and we use it for storage, but then we'd have to have the ventilation for it. You know what I'm
Right, so in
saying?
this scheme, you'd only have a maximum of 5 foot at any point.
Okay.
So in this scheme, the floor would be built out from the stage, following that green color. And then so all of that underneath of the green here, this would be stage level, so really no void underneath.
Yes.
Then this point under the stage would be filled in, and it would be about 5 feet at the max, and then going, sloping up. Then at this line here, you'd have about another 5 foot retaining wall. So at any point under any of these 3 levels, the maximum would be about 5
5
feet.
foot.
Yeah,
So it'd have to be filled in with either a foam or dirt or something. if-
or ventilated if it's a crawl
Yeah,
crawl
ventilated,
space.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
gotcha.
And those are things we can talk about as we get further along. If you guys decide to go this direction, we can look at different systems for economics. It may be the most economical thing is, like you're saying, to pour a wall, fill it with dirt. You know, there's a lot of different options.
Yes.
So,
Let me ask a question on
Okay.
dirt though. You're gonna have to have compaction, so what does that do to your outer walls if you're pushing out?
You're not gonna be able to build it to the wall, though. That's the same thing, issues. What he's saying is, the wall structure is
Right.
undoubtedly, you don't push anything against
Correct.
the wall. So we'd have to build the retainer walls against the walls to hold it. So there'd always be, you know, I think last time, I think we left about a foot to maybe 18-inch, you know, void
Mm-hmm. Right.
between the two, and then it was cable banded, so everything was built. So the overhang of that floor was just that short 16 to 18 inches.
Right.
So putting no wall pressure. Yeah,
Right.
that's a good question, good point he brought
It
up.
is, yeah, and
We
that's-
won't put that up against. Yes.
that's correct. And that's where if you use the geofoam,
Yes, sir.
it doesn't apply
That's
any,
right.
so it could be a better solution than dirt,
Yes.
plus it's not wet.
That's right, that's
So-
right.
Once you do the geofoam, is it there like dirt tends to settle and everything?
Geofoam's there forever. Yeah, it's a really good product. We've
And
used,
it's
I don't,
pretty dense too.
it's very dense. Yeah, I mean, when you walk on it, it looks like a white styrofoam ice chest,
Right.
but very, very dense. Yeah, in fact, it really got its start in the civil industry building big, like when you had to build a huge, like a dam. Well, instead of filling that with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of yards of dirt, they'll stack the geofoam and then they'll create. So we've used it quite a bit. We've gotten away from, if we build a school and it has a stage, if we're not going to metal stud frame it and then put a deck across it, a lot of times we'll fill it with geofoam because it's a lot easier to work than the dirt when you have to go inside. Right. And so, anyway, there's a couple options though, Commissioner Chapin, for us to look at. Any other questions about that?
No, sir.
All right, next slide, sir. Okay, well, my fill pattern's a little bit dark, but what I wanted to do is this white portion is just highlight that we were looking at this as a possible location for the ag extension offices. And so each of the extension agents would have an office here. We have a little storage room for them back in the back. And then we have a little restroom to serve that area. And then this meeting room could be used by the ag extension agents for their various programs. Put a little storage room, tables and chairs there. It could also, of course, any of these storage rooms could be used for anybody during any point in time, but that gives them a meeting room very close to their space. Okay, Judge, would you go to the next one for me? There we go. And then we talked a little bit about this already, but this is just to highlight the election area. Again, big secure storage and workroom for them that could be monitored, where it would be a lot less hassle for them to box up their machines and maintain the election integrity with their offices. And then the large meeting room that could also be used for early voting there.
And on their workroom with the election machines, you looked at 103B where they're storing them now.
Correct.
This is bigger than that area.
This is bigger. That was about 1,300 square feet according to our old plans. We drew this building
They were the architects
20-something
on this
years
building.
ago. So I had the plans for those. But I looked at the room and it was about 1,300 square feet if I remember correctly. And this is about 1,600. So we gave it about I'm not real good on math on my toes, but it was 25% more space. So to give them a little more breathing room in there to be able to do their work. Okay. Next slide, sir. Okay, so this is an example of each of these meeting rooms. What would it look like if you set it up with chairs? And the chair that we have it modeled around is a typical banquet style. It's Mighty Light makes it. A lot of churches, conference centers use them. They can hook together to form rows. They're not a minimum 18. They're about a 22-inch chair, so most people can be comfortable padded chairs. And so in each of these rooms, in the early voting meeting room up here, you could get around 178 people in that room, about 114 in that meeting room, 480 in the big room, and then about 220 or 30, that's very small print, about 230 in that room. So you have the ability to get a lot of people, particularly in that meeting room. And of course, this is, again, I put them in there is like, how many can I get? And put them real close rows. And that's about 3 feet between rows, which is pretty typical of a conference meeting room type situation.
The idea is if you had a large meeting for a general session, for some type of conference or meeting, then you've got these other rooms for breakout sessions.
That's right. Yeah, so you could have the general session in that big meeting room, and then you have 3 places, even 4 we talked about the cafe a minute ago, you could even use the cafe for a smaller breakout room. So you've got 3 real good places, possibly 4 with that cafe to do breakout sessions.
Can I mention something?
Please.
A lot of it on that, especially the big meeting room, was trying to get as close to 500. The district judges are having some high profile cases. They're having to call in to make sure that they've got enough people to be able to have a good jury pool. They're having to call in sometimes 400 and 500 people, of course, or 600, I think, was one of them that they were called. Of course, you don't know how many's going to show up. It might be 300, it might be 200, or it might be 450 people. We're having the same deal. Judge Strand's picking a jury across the hall today, and I know I served on a jury just about a month ago, and I think they called in 150 or 200, and we had about 80 people showed up. So this room, I'm probably gonna have to do the same thing, because this room holds about 60. So just to get the pool with excuses, so I'm thinking the district judges would have a big meeting room that they could do that in.
Yeah,
If they had a capital murder case or something like that.
yeah. It would give you a place to have that, all those people in one spot. Okay, next slide, please. All right, and then we talked a minute ago about tables and chairs. And so these are typical 8-foot, what you might call banquet style tables like you'd have at, like in Tyler at the Brookshire's Conference Center or at Green Acres if you've been to one of those big conferences up there. Typical, and we've got them fairly generously spaced. They could be snugged up a little bit. And so with that, you've got 12 tables and there are 8 people apiece. And so there are 96 potential people in that room. You've got 48 in this meeting room, 216 or 18, yeah, having trouble with that little number, in that room, and then about 100 in this room. And again, if you set it up in a training style with long, skinny tables, you may be able to get maybe another 25%, maybe 50% more, depending on how closely you space those tables and chairs. But that'd give you an idea in terms of a banquet or a chamber luncheon or something like that, what you could achieve in those rooms. Okay, that was my last slide. Does anybody have any questions on any of those?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay.
The Ag Extension Office, that was one of the things is trying to address, where they got plenty of training room space, and if it, even like at the early voting, if they're not using it for an election, right then, they could actually use that room if they wanted to have, like that conference that they had in Nacogdoches, we could host a conference like that here and let people go to our restaurants and stuff. So it's kind of a combination of everybody's ideas, things that I've been listening to. So.
Oh, I might mention that it does have an upstairs, but we did not address using that upstairs for anything, because if we start putting meeting rooms or those type of things upstairs, it's very likely because of accessibility concerns, we'd have to put an elevator in, and there's $100,000 right there. So, in this scheme, it's basically saying upstairs is not used for.
What about the ceiling heights? Are y'all gonna drop them down in your plans? Are you thinking about just the industrial style?
What we were thinking to kind of minimize.
A lot of stuff, a lot of clouds.
We were thinking just some pretty simple, maybe in some of the meeting rooms do something a little nicer, but try to leave all that old theater ceiling just to save demolition money. And then
drop down, it's enough height, you can drop down.
I believe so. Yeah, it's because it's very high, as you know, in there. So yeah, we were thinking leave it up there, put a drop ceiling in these rooms, which of course will be very good for acoustics. And so yes, to answer your question, just come in and lay in a ceiling under there at a nice, comfortable height, but something, that wasn't very expensive. And that would allow us to run the ductwork, revamp the ductwork as necessary.
I'm just thinking if we were able to proceed with something like this, we could sell the Ag Extension Office at Capital One building. Just that way we don't have the maintenance and operation, move the utilities, maintenance and operation out here into this facility and get us kind of what we wanted. Is y'all wanted to try to have some meeting rooms, some conferences.
How expensive is it to add dividers to either the main one or the one in the back to narrow them down a little bit if you was needing? How expensive is that to add?
It wouldn't be, I don't know a number off the top of my head. It would not be very cheap because those they literally have to have their own beam.
Yes, sir.
And so in this particular case, we'd end up having to add a column on each end and a beam or a little girder to carry that weight. We can sure, if you guys decide to proceed forward, we can sure look at it and see what a number for those would be. But they would be somewhat expensive. If you're building a brand new building where you have a steel structure, then you just upsize a beam a little bit. It's a little more economical, but in this case, we're talking about a footing, a beam, columns. But we can sure look at it, run some numbers, and see if that's, you may say that's enough value, let's do it.
Okay.
So it can be done, just I'm not sure how cheaply.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
Y'all got any questions?
I have none. I
Yes,
think
sir.
it looks really good.
I'm sorry, what point, Joe? Sorry. Did y'all have any kind of idea what you think about it?
I mean, it's something to definitely think about.
Well,
You know, to
what
look
else?
and see. I talked to Rashad, Friday because I reached out to see if he had any information on it. He said he wasn't familiar with it, so, you know, I'd like for him to be able to look at it too, you know, before we make any decisions, and I'd like to study it a little bit myself.
Yeah.
Do you have any of these?
Can we get a copy?
A copy of some of these prints we can study
Just
on?
the print, basically, maybe.
He brought a flash drive, so I can print a
Yeah, if
copy
y'all
of
could
it now.
print
Yeah.
us some of that,
I
where I
could
can
do that.
study some of
Yeah.
that, if you don't
They
mind.
were
Thank you.
still working on the tables and the counts and all that on Friday.
Yeah, right up to the wire. But yeah, if what the judge has isn't what you're looking for, just tell judge and let me know, and I can either get y'all some big prints or whatever you need. But
Well,
he
I
does have
asked him
PDFs.
about having one to stand on an easel, you know, a bigger picture of it too.
Well, right now, I'd just like to have
Yeah,
them
but-
printed
oh,
out.
I'm fine
so
with
I
him.
could-
If I could just get them to look at it, I sure
I'll
appreciate it.
study
You
it a
bet.
little better.
I can
Okay.
print those for the commissioners.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
no problem.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all for having me. All right.
Appreciate you, bud.
If we could do it, then the next phase would be what Trey, move to engineering and get engineering involved.
Yes. If you, at the point you guys decide you want to move forward, then what we would do is exactly that. Like, this was what we would call schematic design. And then we would move forward with the next phase of our typical process, where then we would meet with you guys some more, or whoever you decided to go in these departments, to make sure we had everything from the copier's going to be in the right place, all of those little nuts and bolts, plus hire the engineers to start looking at how we do the floor, what are we going to do with the mechanical systems, the plumbing. So yes, that's the next phase, and then we would go into construction documents.
And one thing I meant to ask you, one of the things we talked about, and the commissioners expressed concern that they want to try to stay within our budget on our
Yes.
COs.
Yes,
So are y'all thinking that
I think
we would be able to pretty much stay?
I think so. It's the whole.
We've got 5.9 million, a little over 5.9
Okay.
million for the COs that's in the bank right now.
Okay.
To do this project.
So it's the whole building, since we wouldn't be adding on any, it's about 26,830 square feet. And then if you take roughly $6 million, that's about $220 a square foot. I think if we're real careful with the level of finish, we don't go crazy with real high-end finishes. We just do a nice, good job on the building. I think it'll be tight, but I think we can do it. I think that's in the ballpark for a renovation like this. So.
Is that including any exterior stuff at all? You know,
Um,
like we had the composites and different things we add to it.
Right, no, what this would include would be maybe a fresh coat of paint on the outside, freshen it up a little bit, maybe a little bit of signage.
What about the awning on the front? Was that changed up a little bit?
No, in this particular scheme, we basically just left everything on the exterior alone.
Same.
We would, again, spruce it up with some paint and touch up some spots. And then the couple of new spots is right where the cursor's blinking, right below that. If the use for those offices was something that needed daily traffic, we might put a little covered awning there. And then, of course, the new drive-up awning we talked about down here at the elections. And then this ramp at the,
In the back? Multi-purpose room?
yes, at the multipurpose room. I'd shot a few grades on it when we were just seeing how things looked. And it might need a little bit of touch-up. I think it exceeds TOS accessibility just a little bit.
Okay.
So I believe that number that I gave, that 220-ish a square foot, would cover us on the outside, sprucing up, and a few little sidewalks and things we might need.
But there's no scales on any of this, right? We don't have no scale to measure these rooms yet on any of these copies, do we?
Oh, no, sir, these were just to make them as big as possible. I just fit them to page. Now, if you need some scaled, I'd be
Might
glad
need
to
some
email.
later, if you don't mind getting us some so that we
Sure.
can run that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be glad to. I'll just email them to you, Judge, and then you can
Yeah,
distribute
that's
them.
fine.
Is that okay? Okay.
I'll make copies and get it.
All right. Okay.
All
Very good. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I can find my. There we go. All right. Is that something maybe we can put on next agenda or something? Talk about it some more?
Yeah, maybe the next one or the one after that, kinda give us a little time to look
Okay.
at it. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. We're not gonna take any action today.
No, sir.
All right, item number 7, consider and take action on a quote from Calvary Construction for awnings at the Anderson County Frankston Annex. And I've got a little PDF. Were those in your, did y'all have those in your packet? I couldn't remember. Oh, okay, I wasn't here Friday, so. I came up yesterday and made copies. Here you go, Commissioner.
Martin, get one.
Yes, sir. Okay. And I've got it in. I've got a PDF for it. When we redid the Frankston Annex, we completely outdone, done the outside of it, repainted it, and, actually we still had a leaking roof when we started the inside, and I got that fixed. But the bathrooms have all been painted and the ceiling tiles replaced and all that. To bring this one up to speed, we stripped and waxed the floors. We didn't have to do anything with the flooring. And of course, Kenneth, you know it's got that Texas flag in there. We didn't really want to disturb that if we didn't have to. So we've got that up to speed. We had to take the 2 trees down out in front because they were taking, and if y'all remember the pictures, they were taking the sidewalks and pushing the sidewalks up. We didn't want to have a trip and fall. Right now, we took the trees down, so the roots, that resolved that. We're still gonna have to do something with the sidewalks, but it's not like it keeps getting worse. So we address that. One thing, after taking the trees down, we did some ceramic tinting, so that's helping some on the heat, because that sun is just coming in there from the east. That is facing the east, and actually it comes in both of those windows. So just to knock down the sunlight on the girls, they're right there at that front counter, and also that's our voting box on the side. And so when people get out of their vehicle, they don't really have a cover to get under if it's raining or bad weather. If you've got somebody that's in a wheelchair, that gives them at least a cover to get under once they get out of their vehicle. So we was trying to kind of address the sunlight issue, give them a little shade, and at the same time, bad weather. So, it's the same company that did all the other work, and, you've got a quote, $7,004.40. So. And that'll come out of
Permanent.
that needs to come out of permanent.
I think that
approval.
would be permanent, yes.
It'd be out of permanent approval. So, any questions? Except for the sidewalks, that pretty well will get that building, in real good shape.
Is there any more quotes? I'm still getting a lot of pressure out there about quotes. You got any more quotes on it at all?
I didn't get any more
I've got
quotes.
some local vendors that are just been really upset because they're not getting an opportunity to bid this work. And I'm gonna be in the same situation again. They would really like an opportunity to bid it, so, I don't really know what to do with this.
Well, this was the one that was already doing all this other work.
I understand, and they don't understand
If you wanna
that.
give- if you wanna
Yeah,
give me a-
that's all,
If you
yeah,
wanna give me a list of
yeah, cause they're,
some of the vendors you're talking about.
yes, sir, they're calling me every
We're
time.
fixing to try to do Rashad's, the shop down there, that
Mm-hmm.
roof's gotta be replaced and all that. I'll talk to him, so.
Yeah, I don't object to their quote, I just don't have anything to compare it to, I just really like to give them opportunity.
I'd like to get this finished up, so we're through with that building, except for the sidewalks. I'll entertain a motion to approve the $7,004.40 to Calvary Construction to put the awning up.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Well, we're gonna try to go out for more quotes. or you
It's
gonna-
what we all decide today, I will, yes, sir, but that's just my opinion of it, you know, I think, I just get a lot of callbacks on why we're not getting chances and opportunities, usually that's what we followed, you know, trying to get a couple, 2 or 3 quotes, so. And these guys are not understanding why they're not getting shots at it, and I understand their interest, they are residents here, you know, and businesses here in the county, so I don't have a reason to tell them other than the fact that I'll stand up for them today, but wherever y'all decide.
This was part of the project all along, was trying to, in getting this building, and they're the ones that actually did all the other work. So I'll just let them finish it out, because they were familiar with the building, so. If I don't have a second, then I guess it, motion dies for lack of a second.
Well, I'd like to see some other quotes before we decide. I know they're familiar with it, and still, I'd like to see some other quotes, since it's just an awning, you know, on the building that somebody else could bid on. Or give us a quote.
All right. You wanna pass it to the next agenda?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Essentially, it died for lack of a second, so I'll put it on next agenda. See if we can get, if I can get a list of, who we're
I'll
talking
get you,
about.
I will, yes, sir.
All right, item number 8, consider and take action on approving reimbursement to Elmwood Volunteer Fire Department for the purchase of a utility, task vehicle in the amount of $26,329.20 with American Rescue Plan Act or ARPA funds. And that's enclosure 2. And this is just their reimbursement that's,
Was there an actual invoice? Christina, was there an actual invoice with this? If the court approves it, we'll need an actual invoice before we reimburse. Because I don't know if they paid tax or if this was, how much it was for.
This is just,
So we just approve it up to this, if it is the tax, if it's not, you take it down?
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, we'll need the invoice.
what was it, Christine?
It's my understanding there was no tax since they were fire department, so we can get that.
So I'll make the motion that we approve it up to the 26,329.20.
Okay.
Give the auditor an opportunity to look at the original invoice, so if it needs to be reduced due to
This
taxes.
is tax.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. And then,
Good enough.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. It's 3 pages.
get back to my agenda here. handed out them papers, I guess I covered it. Here we go. All right, item number 9 is consider to take action on a request from Anderson County Bail Bond Board to create a temporary bail bond coordinator position for up to 1 year for the sheriff's office.
Good morning.
Morning, Sheriff.
I think this is a result of the several meetings we had along these lines that something needed to be done, and we finally decided that we needed to take action on it as a bail bond board, and the sheriff's office volunteered to help coordinate that, even though it's not a duty imposed upon the sheriff. And the board voted as a whole to present that to the Commissioners Court with this possible plan, funding that for up to 1 year. We'll have to do some training, we'll do some coordination with other counties to see what they're doing and best practices, and try to solve an issue that I think Mark Staples pointed out to us has existed for at least the whole time that you've been in office, or in that office, 17 years. That's the presentation in front of you today. I think Judge McKinney had made a motion in the bail bond board meeting about the salary level, if you'd let us know what that was.
Well, my comment is doing this temporarily,
Yes, sir.
because we're trying to work with Tyler Technology,
That's it.
and to resolve this. We've had some meetings with Tyler Tech, some teams meetings. They've got a team together that's trying to resolve some of our issues, and in the past, we really didn't have somebody to go to except some IT people. So I started calling Mark, help me find somebody in Tyler Tech that we're actually talking to that's at a higher level. They trying to work on a business plan to address not just one problem, but this was the number one major problem other than trying to do the UCR reports, and that's being resolved right now for the sheriff.
Yes.
But that was actually number one. But the number 2 project was trying to work out this bail bond issue, so that essentially, and we discussed this at length the other day, it should be that when a disposition is put into that system, it should automatically release the bond. It should notify everybody that's involved in that case, and it shouldn't create any more work for any agent, any of us, for the sheriff's department, for the DA's office, for the clerk's offices, and so,
But
it
Judge,
should.
we do notify them once a disposition's been made. We notify, I think, 10 different people with all the agencies.
Here's the thing though, Allison, is what we'd like to see is when you do click that disposition button, whatever the disposition is, that nobody has to come back behind that and do a manual entry, because the capability's already there.
Yeah, I
for the
agree.
system to clear
That
that
it
bond
should be.
I want to
electronically.
make clear that we do notify
Oh,
a lot.
absolutely.
We find out what happens, but something should happen automatically within the system that makes the things we want to do done. That it's not releasing the bond, it's not keeping track of how many bonds the particular bondsman is out on, and if he exceeds the limit that he can legally have, and so on and so, nobody's coordinating that. And we're not saying you should be or anybody else should be, it's just the system is not doing anything for us.
And the more steps there are in the process, the more opportunities we have to fail.
I'll tell you
I
what
was
I
just
told
letting y'all
Tyler.
know that we do notify.
I'll tell you what I told Tyler Tech. I'm tired of the finger pointing. It's been going on for years, and it needs to get fixed. Okay, and I told him I want somebody on site to come down here to Anderson County and go from the jail to the DA's office to the clerks and put a business plan together to get this fixed. And y'all seen some of the emails that I've sent, and I've had conversations with them. That's the way we started. I don't care anything about the blame game. What I want to do is I want the system fixed. We're paying for it to do this operation. It should be fixed. Okay, so that's my approach.
Yeah, exactly,
And I'm supporting
Judge.
every one of you to try to get that fixed shouldn't add any more
Yeah.
work to anybody.
Exactly, and that's why the sheriff's office is volunteering in the interim until we can get the business plan in place with Tyler Technologies to make those things happen, is that we will try to pull it together and start the process of solving this problem without playing the blame game. We're willing to step up and do it.
Sheriff, if I may. Also, regardless of, if Tyler Technology came in tomorrow and said, we have the magic bullet that'll fix this, and from here on out, it'll take care of it, we would still need someone dedicated to fixing what's already messed up for the last 17 years. So realistically, the judge's idea was that we make it a temporary position and see if it needs to be permanent. The sheriff and I wholeheartedly agree with that, and the sheriff's willing to take on the responsibility as long as we have the staff to be able to do it, the resources to be able to do it.
That's it.
And what we're talking about is we're a month into the budget, so there should be enough salary there from some of the positions that aren't filled, pretty well take care of that salary for the rest of the year. And so,
It'll probably be next month before I have that much in salary surplus, Judge, but yes, we can.
well, we can kind of look at it that way. For now, I'd like to take it right out of the sheriff's budget. If we need to look at that down the road, then we can do that. And take it out. If we need to take it out of contingency, but right now, I'd like to just stay within our budget. We're on the first month, so I can support the position on a temporary basis. I'd just like to stay within our budget right now. And I'm not saying we can't do something different if it becomes necessary.
And that was the recommendation of the bail bond board, that we do it temporarily and within that budget.
So what would the salary be?
Oh, that was the other thing, is I don't want to put a salary in place that's any higher than any of our clerks that already are working, because it's not right to put a higher salary in a position and take, and see that somebody wants to move from Mark's office or Teresa's office, so they lose a clerk that's trained to go do another office for us. They probably wouldn't want to do that on a temporary position, but that's my thinking. So, the one we did for the grant, I think y'all have, we discussed this, I think y'all have your PSRS person is essentially the lowest paid employee in the county. So I'm suggesting that the salary be the same as what that person's,
Y'all just need to look at it and see. It's gonna be a temporary deal, so it's not gonna have full-time benefits,
No,
right?
it'll be a full-time position,
Yeah.
but temporary in nature.
I got you.
So 36,400?
In other words, we'll look at it again at budget and, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Was that what it was?
36.
Yes, sir. 36,400.
Yeah.
36,400.
That's my suggestion.
We're not setting that today though, right? We're not working on that.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the
we'll set that
proposal
today.
before you, is that
Okay.
if you approve it, it would be paid at that level, temporarily through the end of the budget year,
Yes, sir.
from, within the sheriff's budget, unless we need to ask for contingency for some reason at a later date.
We need to take additional
But-
court action to extend it beyond the end of this year.
Well, this would just require one budget amendment if it's gonna go into the sheriff's office, which would be creating the position. So that'd be budget amendment number 6. And I can write that up real quick.
What do y'all think?
You make the motion.
Yeah,
All right. Since I was in the bail bond board meeting, I'll make the motion.
there you go.
I move that, we approve a temporary, for up to 1 year, bail bond coordinator's position, in the sheriff's office with a salary of, 36, what was it?
36,400.
400, to be, taken from the sheriff's current salaries and to be revisited if we need to do a budget amendment out of contingency later. And that's my motion.
With budget amendment number 6.
With budget amendment number 6. All right, that's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank y'all very much. We'll get working on a posting for that, and
Thank
start
you.
the process.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sheriff.
item number 10 is consider to take action on the Indigent Healthcare Solutions, non-exclusive license agreement. Ms. Lambert. Let's give her a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
That's all right.
You're next.
Oh, am I?
This is on.
Oh, the Indigent Healthcare
Indigent
Solutions.
Healthcare Solutions.
This is the software that Kathy uses. This is a renewal. And I sent it to the district attorney and she approved a form as well. As to form, excuse me.
But this is just a renewal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Indigent Healthcare Solutions LTD non-exclusive licensing agreement. And again, that's a renewal. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 11, consider to take action on approving additional capital outlay to outfit Constable Precinct 2's vehicle. Morning, Doug.
Doug, he's already received his vehicle and the amount that was allocated in the budget was $50,000. You know, I learned during budget to add more to the sheriff's office to outfit it. Well, we didn't do that for his truck. So I'd already, or in your packet, I did a budget amendment to increase the vehicles to $10,000 for his outfitting. If y'all wanted to use that number or change it. I didn't know what he was exactly gonna get, but
Will that be enough, Doug?
All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve outfitting Precinct 2 Constable's vehicle out of capital outlay and approve budget amendment number 3 for 2020. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Consider and take action on authorizing the auditor's office to go out for bids for a 13-month, one payment lease purchase on 4 new Mack dump trucks for Road and Bridge Precincts 3 and 4.
Judge, we need to, if possible, change that. I talked to Rhett Reekin, the Mack dealer, and told him that I was just gonna receive 1 truck instead of 2. So Precinct 3 will receive 2 trucks, Precinct 4 will just receive 1 truck.
So it'll be 3
So it'll
total.
be 3 trucks instead of 4.
So yours is just 1,
Yes, sir.
2 for Precinct 3.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is that your motion then?
That, yes, sir.
All right, motion by Commissioner Hill to authorize county auditor to go out for bids for a 13-month, one payment lease purchase for 3 new Mack dump trucks for Road and Bridge Precincts 3 and 4. And so we're specific in the minutes, 1 for Precinct 4 and 2 trucks for Precinct 3. Motion by Commissioner Hill.
Yes, sir.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 13, consider to take action declaring surplus to sell at auction the following items: Road and Bridge Precinct 3, 2 Mack dump trucks, being number 1 Mary 2, George Robert 4, George Charles 6, Nora Mary 029381, and 1 Mary 2 George Robert 4 George Charles 8 Nora Mary 029379, and Precinct 4 2 Mack dump trucks, VIN numbers 1 Mary 2 George Robert 4 George Charles 1 Nora Mary 029384, and 1 Mary 2 George Robert 4 George Charles 8 Nora Mary 029382. I'm not gonna say that again.
That's
Could you repeat that?
You can tell I talked on the police radio at one time. Okay.
What are,
Okay, we need to change that because of the other deal?
no,
No, no,
no,
no,
no,
no.
all
This is
that,
right.
all that's fine, we just need to declare these surplus so we can put them in an auction. And what we're thinking at this time is the price of vehicles is escalated up, that the low mileage on these trucks, if we put them up for sale, they're basically gonna pay for what it cost us to use for a year, or that's what we're hoping. So the auctioneer would like to do this as a special auction, that the county doesn't add anything
Any
into
other
it,
items?
any other item, because he wants to run it as a special auction so he can advertise it more, because he really thinks
So you cut me out.
he could.
That's
Just
why you
for-
didn't call me. Mobile junk didn't fit your deal, did it?
This is kind of the same as we done with our, Commissioner Chapin did with his maintainer. I did with the loader. Our buyback price is lower than what the vehicle's actually worth, the way the times are now. So we're thinking we can sell these trucks and have used them for 13 months and it cost us absolutely nothing as our plan.
Okay.
But he'll put them in there with a reserve.
Yes, there will
Yes,
be a reserve.
Yeah,
We will
that's the way we did ours. Our
we will
motor grader
sell
brought
it.
$137,000 more than what we owed him, so it was a real successful.
And I
We will
sold
put
the
a
loader,
reserve.
what it made, I was able to put just a little money with that, and buy another new loader. So
Alright, so I'll entertain a motion to declare these vehicles surplus, to sell at auction, and you want it to be a special auction
Yes, sir.
with just these
Yes,
items?
these-
Just these four
Four
items.
dump
yes, sir.
trucks.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so ordered. Item number 14 is consider to take action on authorizing Road and Bridge Precinct 3 and 4 to use American Rescue Plan Act funds to pay off Mack dump truck, the refinance loan with Vera Bank in the amount of $532,093.75. The ARPA fund will be reimbursed once the auction is complete for the sale of the 4 dump trucks referenced in the above agenda item number 13. Essentially, what you're talking about doing is
Barn.
borrowing from the ARPA fund that amount of money and then repaying it back once the auction takes place.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And it actually will probably be less than that because that's paying it back on 2/28. The interest will be probably less. But if you just want to approve up to that.
Up to that amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So up to the $532,93.75. Do I have a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So ordered. Item number 15, consider and take action on approving a quote and authorize the county judge to sign an agreement to move donated furniture from New York Life in Dallas. I got on the phone and, Thompson Movers, let's see. I've got a copy of this for y'all, made it yesterday too. I did a FaceTime with Jay at New York Life in Dallas with Truman and Jenna, and we identified the property, and I gave a list to the moving company, and they've given us a quote.
Are we getting all of it?
No, we didn't want all of it.
I didn't think so.
No. We got quite a bit of it though. Here it is. It ended up being 2 floors of conference tables, multiple desks and credenzas, they're like new. Conference chairs, and then y'all saw the pictures of
Yeah, we've
those
seen
training tables that Truman gave us last time. So we got all of those, and all of those, I think there's 33 of those conference chairs that are padded. So,
And I'll tell you what, don't think I could go do it for that.
no, that's
No,
what
I wouldn't do it.
I was kinda keeping
when
my
I
fingers
get,
crossed on the price, but
when I got back, you probably wouldn't be happy.
they're
with
gonna,
what
they're gonna
it-
take there's a freight elevator, so they're gonna take and, back their tractor trailer rig, there's a load dock there, so that was convenient. But their people are gonna take the conference tables apart and, load it with the pads and everything else to protect it. And he said he could get all of it in that one truck. So, $3,309.
Where are we gonna put it when we get it?
I'm just gonna bring, well, I told him, if
Put
we
it in the
can, I'm
civics.
gonna go with them. So if we can load on the back what Truman wants at the extension office, then we're gonna try to put it on the back and offload it when we get back to town. And then the rest of it, multi-purpose room in the Civic Center, at least for time being.
Yeah, so you can back up. It's got the big doors you can get in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the, agreement for $3,309 to move all the donated furniture from, Dallas to Palestine, from Thompson Discount Movers. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Chapin, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Hill, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So,
That- Them desks that we looked at when we went, it cost us $3,300.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah,
Good
sure.
desk like was in the pictures.
yeah,
That's how many $1,000 worth of furniture it is.
Yeah.
just to,
And we went to a used store, Kenneth and I did.
those desks with the credenzas, there's at least 3 of those in 3 different offices. And, maybe one even had a return, but those 3 desks alone is
Yeah.
more than this amount of money right here. Okay. All right, item number 16 is, discuss the property assessed clean energy program, the PACE program, and take possible action. With the holidays and everything else, I talked to our tax attorney, briefly talked to Margie, but we really hadn't had any interaction since we met last time. And I wanted to put this back on, I talked to Rashad Thursday, and he said he would try to, help with this, at least try to do some coordinate, on doing this, kind of take it on as a project. We can work together on it, but with everything else that's going on, it's just a lot of stuff to deal with. So he said he wouldn't mind taking that on. So I just wanted to see if y'all got a chance to look at that presentation last time. I wanna kinda get the court's feel for, do y'all wanna move? One thing I did do is I did talk to PDC, and what Chris indicated, and he was here when the presentation was made. This might be another tool in the tool belt. In other words, if you got a company that we're looking at that wants to locate here or something, this will be something that we could offer as an incentive for them. It's not gonna cost us anything, as far as I know. I don't know if Martin here. But, if y'all wanna just, maybe authorize to kind of proceed with it, or y'all tell me what you think.
Does it need that to authorize?
Well, I just
proceed?
thought they're kind of looking for some kind of indication.
Yeah.
What
That's
we're
good.
gonna do, and so,
I think that, for sure, we need to proceed with at least something to present back to us. If it, I don't know if it'll ever cost us anything.
No, it needs
But
to
you
be
know,
looked into, so
yeah.
I'll make a motion to allow county judge to look, and
Rashad, look
more.
into it.
I kinda want Rashad to take the lead on this.
Okay. For
Okay, and he
Rashad.
said he would.
Okay,
He said he would, and I'll help him.
okay.
Okay, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Motion by Commissioner Dixon to, continue the process with the PACE program, Property Assessed Clean Energy Program, and, with Commissioner Mims taking the lead, assisted by the county judge. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Chapin. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? So ordered. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Hill. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Dixon. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All